Welcome to Lighthouse Kinship's devotional video, Sensory, Discernment, Balaam, Proverbs 2, verses 1 to 6, TPT. My child, will you treasure my wisdom? Then and only then will you acquire it, and only if you accept my advice and hide it within will you succeed. So train your heart to listen when I speak, and open your spirit wide to expand your discernment. Then pass it on to your sons and daughters. Yes, cry out for comprehension and intercede for insight.
For if you keep seeking it like a man would seek for sterling silver, searching in hidden places for cherished treasure, then you will discover the fear of the Lord and find the true knowledge of God. Wisdom is a gift from a generous God, and every word he speaks is full of revelation and becomes a fountain of understanding within you. Sunday, September 17, 2023, Monica and I were at Whitewater State Park, Altura, Minnesota, at the overlook on the Chimney Rock Trail.
In the 5 previous devotional videos of Lighthouse Kinship, we have experienced God's divine word through our 5 senses. For a child of the Most High, God of heaven and earth, we require the sensory of discernment, the ability to distinguish sound, godly doctrine from the deceptive doctrine of man-made religions and cults. Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 reveals how to develop spiritual discernment.
Romans 12, verses 1 and 2, TPT. Beloved friends, what should be our proper response to God's marvelous mercies? To surrender yourselves to God, to be his sacred, living sacrifices, and live in holiness, experiencing all that delights his heart. For this becomes your genuine expression of worship. Stop imitating the ideals and opinions of the culture around you, but be inwardly transformed by the Holy Spirit through a total reformation of how you think. This will empower you to discern God's will as you live a beautiful life, satisfying and perfect in his eyes.
In the Old Testament book Numbers chapter 22, we are given front row seats to experience how the Lord will creatively grab our attention when we are aligning ourselves with ideas and opinions of our culture around us and not being inwardly transformed by the Holy Spirit through a total reformation of how we think.
Numbers 22, verses 7 to 13 NLT. Balak's messengers, who were elders of Moab and Midian, set out with money to pay Balaam to place a curse upon Israel. They went to Balaam and delivered Balak's message to him. Stay here overnight, Balaam said. In the morning I will tell you whatever the Lord directs me to say. So the officials from Moab stayed there with Balaam. That night God came to Balaam and asked him, "Who are these men visiting you?" Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me this message. Look, a vast horde of people has arrived from Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come and curse these people for me. Then perhaps I will be able to stand up to them and drive them from this land." But God told Balaam, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed." The next morning Balaam got up and told Balak's officials, "Go on home. The Lord will not let me go with you."
What is Balaam's true character? What truly lives, breathes deep within his heart? At first glance, on the surface, an individual seems to have knowledge of God, might be an okay person. But how can we truly know what lives deep within the heart of this individual? Verses 14 to 22 gives us insight into Balaam's heart as he gladly accepts Balak's second invitation with a subsequent increase from his first offer. However, there is one condition for Balaam.
Numbers 22, verses 20 to 27 NLT. That night God came to Balaam and told him, "Since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do." So the next morning Balaam got up, saddled his donkey and started off with the Moabite officials. But God was angry that Balaam was going, so he sent the angel of the Lord to stand in the road to block his way. As Balaam and his 2 servants were riding along, Balaam's donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. The donkey bolted off the road into a field, but Balaam beat it and turned it back onto the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood at a place where the road narrowed between 2 vineyard walls. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it tried to squeeze by and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So Balaam beat the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved farther down the road and stood in a place too narrow for the donkey to get by at all. This time when the donkey saw the angel, it laid down under Balaam. In a fit of rage, Balaam beat the animal again with his staff.
Did Balaam treasure God's wisdom or the honor, wealth, and opportunities of this world? Are you a Balaam, or do you treasure God's wisdom and discernment? What part did Balaam not understand in verse 12 when God told him, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed"? Or verse 20, that night God came to Balaam and told him, "Since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do." How many times have we done as Balaam and ignored God's wisdom and taken our own actions? What course of action did God take for Balaam? How many times has God needed to use extreme, unusual circumstances for us to treasure Him, His wisdom and discernment over our own sinful hearts?
Numbers 22, verses 28 and 31 to 33 in LT. Then the Lord gave the donkey the ability to speak. "What have I done to you that deserves your beating me these 3 times?" it asked Balaam. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the roadway with a drawn sword in his hand. Balaam bowed his head and fell face down on the ground before him. "Why did you beat your donkey those 3 times?" the angel of the Lord demanded. "Look, I have come to block your way because you are stubbornly resisting me. 3 times the donkey saw me and shied away. Otherwise, I would certainly have killed you by now and spared the donkey."
This concludes our devotional video of Lighthouse Kinship, Sensory, Discernment, Balaam. When God moves, everybody will be blessed. If something is of the flesh, everybody will have a sick feeling. And if something is of the devil, it seems like the hair will stand up on your neck. There's a simple way everyone can judge whether they've got any spiritual discernment or not. Kenneth E. Hagin.
Monica and I thank you for traveling along with us here at Whitewater State Park, Altura, Minnesota, on the Chimney Rock Trail. Lighthouses. Jesus Christ is the light of the world. Kinship. Comfort. Enlightening the eyes of your heart. Photography. Traveling. What do all these have in common? Monica and I excitedly invite all to journey with us not only through YouTube, but by personal appearance as we share the challenges, blessings, and adversities through the lens of the camera and God's divine word. Please contact us by email for Monica and I to share our experiences in person. Our email address is LightHouseKinShipLLC@gmail.com. We'll also have the email address posted in the description below.